Today on the channel, it's a return to the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and in today's video, I'm counting down my top 5 favorite Power Ranger characters of all time.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a weekly tradition on both YouTube channels, as we got a countdown on each one every single week. And this week, we got something interesting. Today, we're counting down my top 5 Mighty Morphin Power Ranger characters of all time. Now, I'm not talking action figures, but I guess you could if you wanted to, but this is about the characters. Which one I like the best, starting at number 5, working our way to number 1. Of course, we will down the line maybe do some top 5s with some of the figures, but we're talking just the characters, just the personalities right now, and I don't care. You can add any Power Ranger. There's been a million teams at this point. Put anybody in there, but for me, I'm going to be honest right at the beginning, I only like the OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all the way up to the old Ivan Ooze movie. After that, I fell off a cliff. That's what happened to me. I think there's others that had that. Others saw the journey through to different teams, different lands, different villains, different heroes. It is what it is. But for me here in this video, it's going to be more the OG team, and I'm going to count them down to number 5 to number 1 being my absolute favorite. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Make sure you put them in order. Make sure you put the list in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's kick it off. It's truly morphin' time with number 5. All right, we kick off the countdown at number 5, and number 5 is actually my favorite color, but my 5th favorite Ranger. Who is it? Well, we go to the Blue Ranger, we go to Billy, we go to David Yost, hometown boy, lived about 2 hours from me, something like that. He's from Council Bluffs, Iowa, of all places, and I'm actually headed there for work this week. I'll have to look, see if there's a statue or something like that for David Yost. There's got to be, right? There's got to be. I'll find out. I'll get down to the details there. But the Blue Ranger is my 5th favorite Ranger of all time. Like I said, my favorite color, but 5th favorite Ranger. And he's an interesting one, old Billy there. To me, he always felt like the Donatello of the team. And it's funny when you're a little kid, you know, you're watching Transformers, G.I. Joe, Scooby-Doo, whatever you're watching out there, you're always like, oh, okay, Optimus Prime is kind of like Flint and G.I. Joe. They're both the leaders. You kind of do that in your head, and you kind of do that with Billy. Well, he's the smart guy. He's the mainframe, or he's the breaker, or hey, maybe he's the Donatello of the Power Ranger team. And that's kind of how I always viewed Billy as. But he is a hometown boy. It's kind of, some way, kind of, done well, done good, whatever you want to call it. And he is the Blue Ranger. And he's been around a time or two, a classic one. And I think he is forever, like a lot of these characters that play these Rangers, forever linked to that role. And a lot of good actors and stuff over the years get linked to roles. It's a blessing, it's a curse. And I'd say all the Rangers kind of have that feeling a little bit, I'd have to imagine. But there's worse things to be known for than being a Blue Ranger, a Pink Ranger, Black Ranger, Red Ranger, whatever it may be. But coming in at number 5 for me, old Billy, the Blue Ranger. We've arrived at the number 4 spot in the countdown, and as they say, always bet on black. The Black Ranger, Walter Jones, he's coming in hot. Old Zach the Black Ranger, coming in at number 4. And I actually saw Zach twice this year at 2 different Comic-Cons, one of them being San Diego Comic-Con. I actually talked to him for 2 seconds. I was in line for Squishmallows. I said, hey, what's up, dude? And he said, hey, man. And that was it. That was quite the riveting conversation, but, you know, we made a lifelong connection right there in just those simple words. But I was waiting for Squishmallows for my daughter, and he was right in front of his table is where the line was going. And he was doing a little of that Lonely Virgil gimmick. There was a little dip in the lines, I guess, going on. But I always enjoyed the Black Ranger. Another good color combination is black, back in black like a young AC/DC. Always looked like he was ready to go, ready to fight. Not quite the leader, but I put him a little bit above Billy in the leadership ranks. Billy was just kind of the guy and making it all happen, making things go smooth. But Zach was out there. He was a guy like a good Flint in some ways, where he was out there, maybe not officially at the top of the house, but wasn't scared to take things into his own hands, wasn't scared to be a leader in his own way. way, and the Black Ranger always came through at the end of the day. So old Zack Attack coming in hot at number 4. We've hit the halfway point in my top 5 favorite Power Rangers of all time. You got your list together? Make sure you put it in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, as we got weekly countdown videos every single week on this very channel. But number 3, some may say we're pretty. Some may say we're pretty in pink, as we got Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger Kimberly, and Kimberly stole the hearts of a whole generation out there. There's no doubt about it. And I actually saw her at a Comic-Con this year as well, and it was amazing. She had the longest line. I couldn't believe how long her line is, so she definitely still resonates with the fan base, especially the male fan base, as I think it was all dudes in that line. But Kimberly, an all-timer. What can you say? One of the 2 females from the Power Ranger days, of course, Yellow being the other one from the OG team. But there's just something about Kimberly the Pink Ranger for a little boy like me getting ready to go to school every single day, watching her episodes, watching her growing love affair, of course, with one Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, White Ranger, Jason David Frank, of course. Just something special about the Pink Ranger. Maybe, I don't know, who knows, but I think if you were a little kid like me, a lot of boys, and men now, if we can be called men, we enjoyed the Pink Ranger as a little kid. So an all-timer here, and that's why she comes in at number 3. Seriously close to the top spot. We're at the number 2 spot in my top 5 favorite Power Rangers of all time. And my number 2 favorite Ranger of all time, beating off the beaten path of what we've been talking about a little bit right here, but I did talk about my years of Ranger fandom. Well, here we are. We're going to the later days, I guess depends how you assess it. The White Ranger. Of course, Tommy, once again, he's moving on from that green, he's moving on over to the white, and there was something special about the White Ranger. I was here for it. That Ivan Ooze movie and some of the TV around it, of course. The moving to different Rangers, obviously the success of the OG Power Rangers that said, hey, we're going even harder. We're getting new Zords, we're getting new weapons, we're getting new characters. Really a changing of the guard of Power Rangers, and I do think the White Ranger helped usher that in, of course, through the movie, as we talked about. Just an all-timer. I remember being just so psyched, so pumped for that. We got our Ninjetti costumes. We went on to a whole new kind of world of the Power Rangers, and then actually it fell off the cliff for me, as once things really changed and the Rockies and the Cats came, some of the changes really took place, and we got other things. It's just not enough for me anymore. And of course, you get older, you kind of fall out of things, fall into other things, and that's kind of what happened to me with Power Rangers. But I always think of the last hurrah for me and my big Power Ranger fandom as a kid was really around the White Ranger and what he brought to the table. Of course, an old favorite in a new role, in a new color, a white knight, if you will. So the White Ranger coming in extra hot, coming in at number 2 in my top 5 list. We got one left. Who is it? Stay tuned. Here we are. We're at the number 1 Power Ranger of all time, as voted by me. As always, make sure you get your list together. Put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as every single week we got a top 5 list on this channel and the other channel, so you don't want to miss those. Head on over there, check those ones out. But number 1 for me, most people could probably figure this one out. Nah, it's not the Yellow Ranger. It is the Green Ranger. Tommy, once again, Tommy joining the fun here. Of course, I love green. Green, green, gold, some may say. Oakland A's color. Oakland A's legend. Tommy right here. But no, nothing about that. Tommy was just an all-timer. And the Rangers I enjoyed, but really once that Green Ranger saga came, it was just such a epic story arc. And back in the day, there was a lot of epic story arcs. We had them in Transformers. We had them in Turtles. We had them in G.I. Joe. A lot of sitcoms and a lot of stories, a lot of cartoons, a lot of live action, whatever you want to call it, Rangers. There was a lot of story arcs that really changed things and really made it feel a little bit bigger than maybe it was, if that makes any sense. But the Green Ranger saga was something special. A guy that started bad. I can't believe there's another Ranger. He's a bad one. And lo and behold, I didn't see it coming as a little kid, but he turned to the good side. He turned around. He actually joined the Ranger team. We got a new Ranger. It just was really, really cool. I thought it was a great story arc, and it made me a lifelong Tommy fan as the Green Ranger. Later into the White Ranger, and then as I said, I fell off, but he was in other incarnations, the Dino ones, I think, and things like that. But I always remember him as the Green Ranger, and there's something cool about the color. Got the shield on him. Of course, I stole this from that Red Ranger that didn't want to come with a face head on him in the remastered edition, which really getting deep in my craw. But this one I absolutely do love. Very good one. This isn't about the figures. This is about the characters here in this top 5. But I really did enjoy this. We recently unboxed this one on the channel, so make sure you check that out if you missed it. But the Green Ranger, an all-timer for me. There was no doubt he was going to be #1. Still is #1 in our hearts forever. And unfortunately, you know, we all lost Jason David Frank about a year ago or so. Really sad, of course, at the end of the day. But an all-timer and my all-time favorite, Power Rangers. So there it is. There's my favorite Power Ranger top 5 list. Remember to put your list in the comments below. Like this video. Subscribe to both YouTube channels. Check out the Patreon for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, pizza reviews, you name it. All going on over there, the old Patreon channel. And best of all, you do support this very YouTube channel. You can support the channel over at Pro Wrestling Tees as well. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media, Sir Paul64 on the X. The _Kyle_Peterson on Instagram and on Threads. So for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I'm Kyle, and it's Morphin' time!